Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Great Scott! There's no crying in baseball!
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
This is where the fun begins.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's right, we're ranking Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 2 is a 2026 American martial arts fantasy film based on the video game series Mortal Kombat. It is a sequel to Mortal Kombat 2021 and the fourth installment in the Mortal Kombat series. In the film, Earthrealm's greatest fighters, joined by washed-up action star Johnny Cage, enter a brutal interdimensional tournament to stop Shao Kahn from conquering their world. Before I get into the movie, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for clicking on the video. Thank you for giving me any sort of time. Most people don't get past 30 seconds, so thank you for getting past 30 seconds. Obviously I have like 100 subscribers. I don't really have many people watching my videos, so thank you for doing that, and please jump around, watch on 2 times, whatever. But I know that the people I watch on YouTube, if I commented or had an opinion, it doesn't really matter. No one would ever see it, but here it does. So please comment down below. Let me know how I'm doing, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you'd like to see me do. I just enjoy any sort of commentary, any sort of feedback. I just like to have some sort of community here. That would be nice to be able to interact with. So please comment if you feel obliged. Otherwise, Mortal Kombat as a video game series, I did not play very many of them. I did shout out Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. I still love that game, still own it for the PS3. I played a lot of that game. I had a lot of fun. Playing my brother, of course, you know, he is 6 years older than me, so it was a lot of him getting mad at me for just spamming the same move 1,000 times, but hey, whatever. Winning is winning. I don't have much exposure, but I do know quite a bit about Mortal Kombat through that game, through playing, I think Mortal Kombat X I played a little bit, so I do know some of it. I do enjoy the world. There's a lot more to it than just fighting, and that's pretty fun. I get into, you know, the characters and the worlds that they come from. I'm also a dude, so Mortal Kombat is my jam, you know. Monster Jam and Mortal Kombat is where I thrive, not Barbies. So I did enjoy playing the games, and I enjoy the concept of all this brutal fighting. That being said, the first Mortal Kombat I did not watch. I did hear a lot of really not so great things about it, so I wasn't sure what to expect going into this movie, but hey, pleasantly surprised. This movie knew exactly the audience that was going to be watching it and pandered to them. So let's get into why this was a great movie with the 10 essential aspects of it. First is plot. Does the movie follow a comprehensive story arc and is plausible within the world that has been created? Now we're talking about Mortal Kombat here. I'm not necessarily in it for the plot. I don't care about the story that much. And I'm glad the director here knew that. The plot is good enough for what you're here for. I'm here to watch some fighting. I'm here to watch some, you know, cool moves and some gory fatalities. That's what I'm here for. The story here, I do think in the beginning, you know, the first Mortal Kombat, it struggled because you were trying to take a thing that is made for fighting and surface level entertainment and try and make that somewhat deeper in some way. I mean, Mortal Kombat transitioning to a movie can be kind of difficult because you're taking away the fun aspect of you playing the fighter. So that is hard, and I think that definitely caused for some struggle in the first movie because you're trying to make a more interesting story out of some pretty surface level characters that are never really meant to have any sort of depth. They're just supposed to look cool and be fun to fight with. Now, the second movie, it's all about the tournament, right? The plot is the fighting, and it just thrives off of that. It's just so much better set up because it's just good enough. You know what's going on. You know there's a tournament. You know that they have to fight to win. You know who you want to win and who you don't want to win. It's just pretty clear. So good enough setup for me to watch it. Let's just watch some fighting. And that's what it did. I mean, the Johnny Cage story, the Katana story are kind of just, they add to it. It's nice. They do a good job. It adds a little bit of depth to not just a fighting movie. Like I would say, like Ballerina has really no story and is just a fighting movie where you can watch some fighting. This is one that does have a little bit of story. I mean, I'm glad that they knew not to go into it too much and try and make it too serious. It was pretty aware of itself. They do a good job. It just is exactly what you want it to be for a Mortal Kombat movie. Second is attraction. Does the movie have an interesting premise with a high entertainment value? Like I said in plot, I mean, someone keep a counter. I'm probably gonna say fighting 1,000 times, but that's what this is all about. It's all about it. And like I said in plot, they knew exactly what they were going for. So if you like Mortal Kombat, if you can watch it, if you can play it, you'll love this movie because they cater to that audience. If you don't know any of it, you're probably not going to enjoy it that much. And they're not trying to pander to an audience that doesn't exist, right? You're making a movie called Mortal Kombat. The people that you're gonna watch it are the people that play the game. So they just pander to them and give them a lot of fan service, a lot of what's in the game. And it works great. I mean, I'm somebody that knows that stuff a good amount. So I was into it. A lot of the things I recognized and it was fun. I mean, if you're a Mortal Kombat lover, you'll love this movie. If not, I don't know how much you're going to enjoy it. It's not made for an audience outside of knowing what is happening. I mean, it's passable, I think, if you don't know what's going on, but you're gonna miss out on a lot of the fun if you don't really know the intricacies of Mortal Kombat games, the levels, characters, what they're supposed to do, some of their moveset. I mean, they do a lot of things to capture the video game, and so if you don't know that stuff, I do think this movie is probably gonna be boring and not quite as good. Third is theme. What message or truth is a movie trying to convey? It's a Mortal Kombat movie, right? There's not really much of a message or theme here. I mean, you could take something out of Johnny Cage's story arc, him kind of finding his purpose, you know, not relishing on the past and taking advantage of the moment, but I don't know. I mean, you could kind of take a little bit out of Johnny Cage's story, but otherwise, it's Mortal Kombat. I'm not expecting much here. Fourth is dialogue. Is there a real feel to the conversations? Not really, right? I mean, yes and no. So this movie was kind of interesting to me because the beginning really has this awesome feel to it. That first intro has real, you know, good dialogue, but like the tone of the entire scene is very serious, and you kind of have this, not what I was expecting for Mortal Kombat, you know, and it was great. It's this great fighting scene. It's this great moment between Katana and her dad. There's a lot of good things going there, but it doesn't necessarily set you up for the tone of the movie. So for the first quarter of the movie, like there's a lot of cringy dialogue, not very good, just kind of silly, but not in like a fun way necessarily. But that was because the intro of the movie kind of put me in a mind frame that was like, oh, okay, this is going to be a lot more cinematic of a movie than I was expecting. But it's not. It's not a movie to be taken that serious. And you realize that throughout the movie. And once I kind of realized, oh, okay, this movie actually isn't trying to be that serious. It is just trying to have fun and reference a lot of the games. Then it got fun. And that cringy dialogue wasn't really that bad. It was like, yeah, that makes sense because that's what you're going for. And I see what you're doing with this movie now. And so once I saw that and kind of got over the intro, I enjoyed it a lot more, and I enjoyed the characters a lot more. It actually did have some comedic aspects at times, though not everything about it was funny. If you can accept it for what it is and what it's trying to be, it is fairly funny and does what it's trying to do well. Fifth is acting. Are the characters convincing? I will say that this movie is kind of hard to judge acting on because it's just never really that serious. There isn't a lot of scenes that give opportunity for actors to really show, you know, their skill and how good they are. But I will say that with what they had, they all did a good job. They all felt like their characters. They all brought a good energy. Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, he kind of gets more of a focus here. And though I don't think he's necessarily perfect for the role, he is kind of an odd fit. I thought they adjusted to him well. Because in my opinion, I don't like the video game version of Johnny Cage. I find him really annoying, which I know that's kind of his thing, is being annoying, but to me, he's not a fun annoying. In fact, he's just like a really pointless, stupid character. So I always hated Johnny Cage. So they kind of adjusted that character to fit Carl Urban since he is older, and having him be like a washed up actor and was popular, but is dealing with the fact that he's not anymore, but kind of has to become that older version of himself somewhat. I liked it a lot better, and I thought he delivered it really well. The moments that he has to show some sort of growth or add some humor to the movie, he does a good job. So he wasn't the perfect fit, but I thought the movie handled that casting really well. I will say the only thing I didn't like, which is not the actor's fault, I don't think they did a great job with Raiden. I feel like Raiden should have been just literally bigger, like more of an intimidating presence. And I don't know how big the actor is, but I just feel like they didn't portray him very well, the character, throughout this movie, because he is somebody that is talked about and is feared, by the enemy. Like, if you can get rid of Raiden, then Earthrealm is, open. It is vulnerable, but he just doesn't feel that way throughout this entire movie. It just doesn't have the presence of being this intimidating figure that is super powerful and very strong. In fact, he doesn't really do that much throughout the whole movie except like be a doorway. I mean, he's pretty much just a doorman for a lot of this movie, and I just feel like it was kind of, I don't know, a waste of potential for that character. 6 is cinematography. Is there a creative use of lighting, setting, and wardrobe to convey emotion? The movie honestly looks great. There are a lot of scenes that take place in different settings. You see a lot of the realms. They do a really good job of making these places feel full. The whole universe feels big. It feels like there's a lot of places to be, a lot of places to fight. They also, they have quite a few places that are actual arenas from the video game. So if you can recognize any of that, there's fun to be had here to look at them and see them and be like, oh, hey, I know that place. They do a lot of fan service here. That's a lot of fun. The fighting itself, I mean, it's like 75% of this movie. There's so much fighting, which is exactly what you want out of a Mortal Kombat kind of movie. I will say, for some reason, it doesn't really get old. I kind of assume that, you take a movie like Ballerina where they also do a lot of fighting, and that is exactly why you're coming, but you just kind of get fatigued from all the fighting. I think that is because, you're kind of dealing with humans, so you have to be human versus human, so you have to be really creative in how to make each fight feel uniquely different or memorable. Here, every character is already unique and memorable in some way. They all have their own powers and ways in which they fight. So every fight in here feels different because they're all different people that do different things. So the fighting never really gets old and is really well done. I think the Liu Kang versus Kung Lao fight stands out big time. I mean, they do a great job with all the effects, with all their powers when they fight and using them and using move sets that are literally from the game that you can recognize. But the Liu Kang and the Kung Lao fight, so awesome. They did such a good job with just the look and the feeling and making these two feel like, wow, we are seeing two big hitters go at it right now. That's what it felt like. They did a good job of portraying these guys as being experts that if I was thrown into there, I wouldn't even last 1 second. Like, they would kill me instantly. And speaking of killing, there are fatalities in this movie that are directly from the game, and they are so fun. I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they decided to do the ones that they did and show them the way they did. I thought they handled the gore well. It's gory enough to satisfy you in a Mortal Kombat way, but I don't think it's over the top to where you're gonna deter people who don't really know about Mortal Kombat or know. It's just not too gory. They do a good job of striking a balance and just doing fan service, putting a lot of stuff from the video games directly into the movie that's fun to watch. I will shout out, I always liked Baraka. I don't really know why, I just think his character design is cool, and I love the way he looks in this movie. I'm glad. I was scared that he wasn't going to have any screen time. Not that it really matters, but I enjoy his character. I wanted to see him. But he actually does have a decent amount of screen time, and I just think he looks so cool. I love when he's on screen. I just think, I don't know, his character design is so creepy, and they do such a good job in this movie. It looks really, really great. Emotion-wise, there's not much emotion here. In fact, it really seems like the movie was trying not to have any emotion. I will give them credit. I enjoy when movies kind of take leaps and do things that maybe you weren't expecting, and they definitely do in this movie. There are people, like, stakes are high. People die. And there are people that die in this movie that you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that person to die. And they just don't dwell on it at all. In fact, it's kind of comedic how much they don't care about the people who die in this movie. I mean, somebody important will die, and then the next scene, they'll be like, oh, so-and-so's gone? It's like, yeah. And like, oh, man. And then that's it. And then for the next hour of the movie, they're never talked about again. It's actually pretty crazy how they handle that. So there really isn't any emotion, and it seems like they didn't want there to be. Seventh is editing. This is all about the pace of the movie. The movie is an hour and 56 minutes long. It's a good length, honestly. I thought this movie, you could tell from the beginning that they were kind of rushing some of this, hey, you didn't see the first movie, so let me throw you in and get you caught up. I could just tell. I was actually a little worried that it was going to be long because from the beginning pacing, I could tell that they had a lot that they needed to tell. And they were just kind of throwing things and moving things along really, really quickly. And it was like, hey, we got to get to this tournament. And then the tournament's happening. And you're like, wow, they really got into that quick. So I felt like, oh, this is going to be a long, drawn-out movie. It wasn't. I actually enjoyed it. I'm glad they did that in the beginning, because if they tried to spend too much time character building on a plot and characters that just don't need it, it would have been too long. But I honestly think they did a good job of rushing it when it needed to be rushed, and then just taking their time and having a lot of good fights and not having them go for too long. They felt just right. Honestly, this movie at about 2 hours is really good and entertaining. Eighth is soundtrack. Now, I didn't really notice the music in this movie. I feel bad because this is an important section and really can add some great value to a movie, but is not something I necessarily notice that often. It is something that I have to deliberately think about because so many movies use the same exact kind of music for the same exact kind of moments. So I've just kind of drowned out certain songs or types of songs that happen in a movie. So this one, I was just so busy looking at characters and thinking about the fighting and all that, I didn't really notice the music. It was there, and I'm sure it was decent, but it's nothing special. Ninth is directing. Now, I feel the director is in charge of the previous 8 aspects. They're the ones that have to put it all together, give it their stamp of approval, and make a really good movie. Now, the director of this movie is Simon McQuoid, and this is his second film. The 2 films that he's directed so far are Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2. I really liked what he did with this film. And one thing I really like is that it seems like all the gripes from the first film he addressed and improved upon for the second film. Something I can't stand is, which seems to happen all the time, is directors that make a movie about a subject that they themselves don't care about. I don't understand. I mean, I understand a paycheck, but if you're gonna make a movie and it's going to be about a specific thing that has a specific fan base behind it, why would you not educate yourself? For example, in just recent memory, I talk about the F1 movie, a movie that might be fun for people who don't care about racing, but you made a movie about F1. And it has nothing to do with the reasons why people who actually enjoy F1 enjoy it. A lot of the people that actually watch that series didn't love the movie and thought it was kind of ridiculous. And I just think that's so silly. If you're gonna make that movie and it has a clear fan base, then either like it yourself or take the time to understand why people love it. I think it's clear with this movie that he understands, or either he likes Mortal Kombat himself or understands why people like it. He did a lot of fan service, did a lot of listening and understanding, okay, this is exactly what people who enjoy Mortal Kombat, the people who are clearly gonna watch this movie, enjoy, so let me give that to them. And he does it in a really, really good way, in a creative way that's really fun to watch. So I give him a lot of praise. I think he did a lot of things well and improved upon them. I'm curious what else he's going to do in the future. 10th is time. Will it stand the test of time? Not necessarily. It will for the fans, right? People who enjoy Mortal Kombat. I think this movie will stick out as probably the best Mortal Kombat movie, unless you're just nostalgic about the other ones. This one just does a really good job of capturing everything you love with Mortal Kombat. But to the normal audience member that doesn't know any of it, it's pretty forgettable. I don't think that it's going to stand the test of time. Most people will forget that it was ever even made. So the people who are Mortal Kombat fans will remember this movie, and I think it will stand the test of time for them. Now for the review section. Rotten Tomatoes critics gives it a 64. The audience gives it an 89. And IMDb gives it a 70. I would say, personally, this is probably somewhere like an 80 for me, probably somewhere in the middle between 89 and 70, just because I think it's a movie that does exactly what it's supposed to do. It had an objective that it was trying to hit, and it hit it and did some great things along the way. The fighting is great. The characters are exactly who they should be. They look exactly how they should look. The tone of the movie is exactly how it needs to be, not taking itself too serious. It just does a lot of things well. And it panders to the audience that's going to be watching it. I mean, if you said you didn't like the Mortal Kombat movie and someone asked, well, did you like playing Mortal Kombat? And you said no, then it just doesn't make sense. It's like, of course you're not gonna like it. But the people who like playing Mortal Kombat, they're gonna like this movie. So I feel like it's at least a B. It doesn't do anything crazy, right? Like, I do think it does take some fun and interesting steps cinematically with the fighting, with the setting. That is really nice and fun and appealing to look at. However, it has no real depth to it, and it wasn't supposed to. So I feel like a solid B is where this movie belongs, because it just does its job and it does it well. Finally, for the rankings. Now, before I get into the rankings, I do want to explain, not that anyone necessarily cares, but I've completely revamped the entertainment side of my list. The cinematic side stayed the exact same, because I do feel like I can take my opinion and objective truths to movie making and kind of combo them and feel good about the list that I've made, and don't really need to make that many changes. And through the future, through going along and doing this, I haven't had to change that list up a whole lot. I feel like it has done a good job. The entertainment list has changed a lot just because the way I've thought about it is so different. I started thinking about it as purely what other people would find entertaining, but that was just too hard not to have my bias. But when I swung the entire different direction and went only if I like it, I kind of realized this theme of me enjoying cinematic movies more than pure entertainment movies. And that's the whole point of having two different lists, is kind of showing off the movies that weren't supposed to be cinematic, were supposed to be entertainment and do a good job. So I had to find a balance between what people would like and what I personally like. So I did that. I used a lot of numbers, and I came up with a good formula to kind of keep track of what people, how the general audience of people feel about this movie, and then that kind of puts movies into a tier, and then I list the movies within each tier on whether I like them or not, or how good of an entertainment movie they necessarily are. So not that anyone would ever notice, it's just kind of a timestamp for me, but I did completely revamp it, so if it does look different and movies are in different places, that is why. So for the year of 2026, out of two movies I've done so far on the entertainment side, it is going to be first. I have it above The Devil Wears Prada 2. Conveniently, back to back, these movies are very similar. They both know their audience. They both do a good job of entertaining their audience. I think that The Devil Wears Prada is not quite as entertaining. I don't think they really lean into it as much. There isn't as much going on, and it is kind of convoluted. There's a lot of problems going on. I think Mortal Kombat 2 is just much more streamlined. I mean, it just knows exactly what it's supposed to do and just kind of does it. And though it's not going to fit every audience, I think the audience that is going to choose to watch this movie is really going to enjoy it. I think the same can be said for The Devil Wears Prada 2, but I just don't think it's on the same level. Cinematically, out of two total movies, it is going to be first above The Devil Wears Prada 2. Again, really close. These are both movies that knew exactly what they needed to do and did it, but I just think that Mortal Kombat 2 is just more creative. There's a lot more going on, more characters that are more interesting, and this world building and realm building that is more interesting than what The Devil Wears Prada 2. I think it just brings more to the table than what The Devil Wears Prada 2 is bringing, though they're both good movies. For the decade of the 2020s, on the entertainment side, out of 66 total movies, it is going to be 27th, just below F1 the movie and above The Devil Wears Prada 2. I have it below F1 the movie, it's a movie that a lot of people did enjoy. I had a lot more problems with it, but I just think that the general consensus from people, from general audiences, is that they just enjoyed the movie, right? And I have my bias towards enjoying racing and not liking it, but I think if I had to show this movie off to a group of people, would I choose Mortal Kombat 2 or F1? I think F1 is more appealing to the general audience than Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 2 is people who know about it will really, really enjoy it, but if you don't necessarily know about it, I don't think you will, where F1 I just think is more approachable as a movie. Cinematically, out of 66 total movies, it is going to be 17th, just below Joker Folie à Deux and above The Devil Wears Prada 2. I have it below Joker. It's hitting that line like The Devil Wears Prada 2, where we're just having different tones here. This movie is made to be entertainment, and though it has cinematic aspects, it does its job really well for being entertaining and panders to the audience really well, and I enjoy it. And I think that is something to praise it for, as an art form, doing its job, but it just never takes a serious tone, which I think is kind of the beauty of the art aspect of cinematography, that something like Joker Folie à Deux and all the movies above it either do or touch upon better than what Mortal Kombat 2 did. Now, all time, out of 82 total movies on the entertainment side, it is going to be 41st, just below F1 the movie and above The Devil Wears Prada 2. And cinematically, it is going to be 26th, just below Joker Folie à Deux and above The Devil Wears Prada 2. That's all I've got for Mortal Kombat 2. Surprisingly, a good movie. I was expecting less. My bar was fairly low, and it was really good. I thought they did a lot of things that were just fun to watch and enjoy. If you like Mortal Kombat, you're going to enjoy this movie. I'm sure I've said that way too many times in this video, but it's just the truth of the matter. If you don't like Mortal Kombat, I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this movie to you. I just don't think you're going to enjoy it that much. It really does just have a target audience. Please, if you have a movie that you want me to review, comment it down below. I've been going through the list of everybody who has commented a movie and going through those movies, so I will get to it eventually. But otherwise, thank you for watching. I'm Mr. Majoritarian. Stay classy, San Diego.